All right, guys, welcome back to the Canadian Economy and Estates podcast. We're back in the studio today, which is exciting. Finally found some time to align our schedules here, Brooke.
Yeah, Cortez is making fun of me because I have a little bit of a face cold and it's the middle of June.
Yeah.
So I think you
Who
can
gets
hear
sick
a
in
little bit
June?
of who gets sick in June.
That's the first thing I said.
So funny.
There's obviously a lot going on in the world, in other countries as well. There was but Israel attacked
I heard.
Iran.
Didn't Iran already attack them back?
No, Iran hasn't done anything yet. So obviously the hope is that.
I think they did last night.
Oh, Iran attacked them back?
Yeah.
Oh.
Producer Nick.
Oh, they did attack them back? Oh. Did they make any headwinds? I don't know. I just saw that Trump is involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Iran has nuclear weapons, and that's like really scary. And the price of oil shot up because it potentially is a war. So I just want to read this tweet here quick. RBC now calling for no more BOC cuts in 2025. We have removed further interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada as a direct trade uncertainty facing Canada recedes while the inflation outlook remains uncertain. So if oil is going up, we should use more of our own oil and refine our own oil, but that's another topic for another day. But yeah, obviously, people's lives matter first. It's really sad that, these wars are going on. They're out of our control, but all we can kind of do is kind of look at what it can do for the markets. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about too. Yeah, and how it affects us. So the price of oil goes up, could be inflationary. Affected. Yeah, obviously that's the number one thing is families affected, people affected, innocent people affected, super sad. But that's what we're kind of seeing is a spike in oil if we're looking at the economic side of it, which could increase inflation, which could keep our interest rates higher for longer. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of
I don't know. I still think they might do a cut this year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully the retaliation or Iran kind of stands down. That's kind of what Trump's saying. The big thing is like their nuclear weapons that they were building was what scared Trump. Right. And then that also worried Israel, and then Israel attacked Iran. Again, I'm not an expert on this, so there's people on different sides. Obviously, that's
so crazy that this is in 2025 and this kind of bombing countries is still happening.
Crazy. It's
incredibly sad.
Yeah, it's incredibly sad. But that's kind of why like defense spending in Canada needs to go up too. And I know that a lot of people don't like Trump, but they are our biggest ally in terms of like if someone was to try to invade us.
So, we need. Yeah,
them. let's align. Yeah, let's align on that front at least. I know maybe some of our trades might be different, but I think Carney and Trump are working on a trade deal. I know I said this last time, but
agreement.
Yeah, there's going to be some agreement soon. Hopefully it's good for Canada. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
That'll be
hopefully
good.
That'll be on our next podcast because all the G7 people are meeting in Canada.
Yeah, I
think next week.
Oh, they're meeting in Canada.
Or is it? Yeah, they're meeting in Canada. Yeah, I don't know where exactly, but I remember seeing it on CTV.
Interesting. I think they'll come to an agreement. The economy is just suffering while people wait to see what's happening.
Oh, it's just painful. Unemployment's up.
Painful.
Yeah,
good word.
Just like let's get people working and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you got the first one, so hop on over it.
All right, Polling Canada. So the Polling Canada federal model update. So the LPC currently has 184 seats, which is up 15. The CPC 130 seats, which is down 14. BQ 23, NDP 5, and GPC is 1. These are the seat changes with the 2025 federal election.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the honeymoon phase that they talk about after, after Trudeau. I think it was pretty easy. And, Mark Carney, I'll give him credit. He's boring, but that's kind of what I think people were craving in politics, was that just kind of steady hand.
I think that's exactly what happened and why he won. Pierre was too far one way. And people just wanted more of the middle.
I think Pierre's campaign failed him pretty bad. Like, I think they should fire this. Like, Jenny Burns is the campaign manager. She helped Harper, but I think he's got to get out in the media more.
Yeah.
Once he gets his seat back, I feel like his numbers will go up again, but his numbers have drastically dropped. And that a lot of conservatives are saying, should he get replaced?
Right. Do you remember how Stephen Harper campaigned? It was similar to the way Mark Carney campaigned.
Yeah, he's boring, old guy.
Smart. Yeah. I feel like the conservatives need somebody like Stephen Harper. Like when Stephen Harper was in power, he did a good job.
Yeah, I think like Andrew Scheer's obviously he's running the Conservatives right now in the House of Commons, and he's doing a really good job of like giving like his personality, and it's good to see. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, once Pierre wins the seat in Alberta, hopefully he can come back and really come to the House of Commons and really help. But one thing that you'll see there is that the Liberals with all those seats, if the projections were right, would mean that they have a majority. So right now they have a minority.
Right.
But the NDP is not going to call an election because you can see that they're down.
They're down 2 seats.
The Bloc Québécois, I think they got like 1 seat, and I don't think they want the Liberals to have a
They have
majority.
23 seats, which is high for Bloc.
Well, they had 33, I think, last time.
They're up 1.
Yeah.
This 2025 election, but that's higher than I would have anticipated if I had to guess.
Yeah, a lot of seats in Quebec, obviously. That's
True.
where all their seats are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where all their seats are. But I don't think, like I said, there's not going to be an election anytime soon. The Conservatives have lost ground. The Liberals would probably love an election right now because then they can get their majority.
And they can get their majority.
Yeah, but the NDP aren't
Nobody's calling it.
No one's gonna go on their side to call an election. But
Right.
it would just be too soon. I think it would piss off.
It would be too soon. That would be ridiculous.
It would be
That's not happening
ridiculous,
for a while.
But yeah, I think if Carney keeps this up, the Liberals will be in power for a long time. And if it changes, which usually does, these scandals happen and different things happen. So
yeah,
we'll
but
keep you guys posted. But yeah, it's showing that people are supporting the Liberals right now, and they think Mark Carney's doing a good job.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Need some normalcy
in this country.
At least people aren't talking about our prime minister like they were talking about Trudeau. That was.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
Canada was full of rage for a while.
Yeah, it was full of rage.
Okay, moving on to the next one. CMHC warns of rising condo market risks as sales collapse and investor losses mount. So Toronto and Vancouver's condo markets are under growing pressure, with new CMHC data showing steep sales declines, rising inventories, and increasing financial stress among investors. Conditions could drag on future housing supply. Wow. So apartment sales in Toronto have fallen 75% since 2022, while Vancouver saw a 35% drop as of Q1 2025. The sharp downturn has been driven by a combination of higher interest rates, reduced affordability, and waning investor appetite.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because investors were so heavily, like I think 50% of the Toronto market, and I actually think it's more, but that's the stat that they gave, were investors. So like they were funding all these projects, right? Because as you know, to build a condo, you need certain amount of units to be pre-sold. So then the bank will give you money so you can actually go to build.
100%. And some of these prices I see, like an Oakville condo, 575 square feet listed for $389. If you're looking at the cost of actually building that condo per square foot, like it's be tough to even build for these prices. Like even if you look at $400 a square foot, some of them are the price of what it would actually cost a builder.
Yeah.
Zero profit margins for anybody.
Oh my God, yeah.
The builder, the seller.
I think it's people are kind of just wondering, like, do I just take this massive hit now, or can I weather the storm? The big thing is that, like, say you lived in a condo and it was your primary residence and you were paying for it and it was down in value. Well, it doesn't matter. Like just keep holding.
No, exactly.
Keep paying your mortgage and stay as put. But it's the issue with the person who speculated on buying the condo as an investment. Say they're going to renew. They went from a 2% rate. Now they're going to go up to a 4% rate. Their condo fees have gone up because it's been a few years. Usually that's what happens. Your property taxes just went up in Toronto.
Yeah. And usually
you're bleeding.
I mean, normally you'd be able to sell. So in this market, especially with unemployment being so high too, if you cannot afford it, you're not seeing as many power of sales as you would expect in a market like this where nothing moves. If you don't have a job anymore and you absolutely need to sell because you can't afford to pay your mortgage payment, usually the bank takes over. But I don't see a lot of them, but I see a ton that are undercutting the lowest price. So one will, go from $450 to $420, and then the next one that gets listed goes to $400, and then you see a $389, and it's like, man, if it's not moving at $389, it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
That just means that there's no buyers even really looking, because normally anyone would scoop that up in Oakville, a prime location, over 500 square foot condo in a great new building for $389. That would have moved so quick. So it's the lowest priced unit, like one of them in Oakville, and it's just not moving. So it's not even a matter of price. It's a matter of nobody wants them.
Yeah. I know. How low can you go?
Yeah.
And maybe it's lower. Like maybe that's the thing. I think the condo market's going to see that price decline across the board, where maybe it starts to become attractive for first time buyers. But the bigger issue to me is what happens with the freehold market, because the freehold market's holding up pretty well. But unless the condos, like the upsizers, right? Because everyone would start the condo, not everyone, but most people would start condo, it would appreciate. Okay, let's go to semi. and semi goes up to detached. Well, if you get rid of that one bucket of people who are selling their condos and moving up, well, now they can't because they're selling it at a negative equity position, or they're breaking even. But by the time they pay commissions and land transfer on this new one, they're not making any money, or they're not making enough to move up.
Because typically you would get your down payment back out, right? So if you bought for 400, your mortgage is going to be something like 320, let's call it, with 20% down. And then if you sell it for 450, you get your down payment plus 50%, 50K profit. Yes, factor in your fees and stuff, but that gives you more of a down payment to move up.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how it's done. But if you're selling for less than you bought, you're going to recoup some of your down payment, right? If your mortgage was 320, you bought for 400, now you're going to sell for 350, let's call it. You're still going to have some of your down payment back in your pocket, unless you go really low.
We just really haven't heard these kind of stories, right? Where like people would put in, like, you know, if you bought a condo, you saved up and you have 100,000 or whatever, and now you're going to sell, and now you're going to lose that, not lose, but you know, that equity's gone that you put into the property. Because a lot of, even I've seen in Toronto, some 2019 prices are the same as what we're seeing today.
100%.
So you haven't kept up with inflation. You know, by the time you sell, you're going to have to pay your commissions and the HST on commissions and pay the lawyer. And then if you are going to buy something else, you're paying double land transfer in Toronto, at least. So yeah, the condo market is pretty scary, obviously. So what's going to get built going forward? I think the only thing that people are going to start building is those purpose-built rentals.
Yeah. They're the only thing that makes sense, because you cannot sell condos right now.
Yeah.
Even the rental market, I find, is a little bit slow, though. I just wonder what everybody is doing.
I think it's the consumer sentiment when it starts to
100%.
fall, then people change their mind.
This graph here that accompanied what I just read is insane. So it's just like you see from 2024 Q1 up until 2025 Q1, sales for condos going in and out, but it's kind of like a straight line, and then it's just an exponential line of inventory increase. Toronto has a record high number of months of supply for pre-construction condominium apartments, which leads into our next one of Toronto has a whopping 58 months of new condo inventory for sale. Wild.
What does that mean for people that don't know?
Yeah. So months of inventory means if no new condos were to come to market today, how many months would it take to sell off every single condo that's currently listed? And this is specifically Toronto. So it would take 58 months, which is over 2 years, for every single condo on the market today to sell off if no new condos were listed today.
Yeah.
So that also signifies if it's a buyer's or seller's market. Obviously, if with 58 months, it's a buyer's market, but the lower your months of inventory is, the more you head into a seller's market.
It's crazy. Like, I think that there's a lot of deals out there. Like one of my old clients, she lives in Toronto, and she texted me and she was like, yeah, my landlord's raising my rent $70. So I went into her building and I found a unit that was $300 less than what she's paying right now. And then he's trying to add 70 to it, or maybe it was 200. I might be exaggerating the numbers a little bit, but it was a pretty significant. And I just said to her, send him this listing and say, I'm just going to move upstairs for $200 less to a nicer condo on a higher floor. And I don't know what happened or if she did it, but that's what I would say to my landlord. Like, if you're trying to raise the rent on me, I'll move.
I've never raised the rent, on my
Good tenants. For you.
I've had tenants for almost 5 years now. I've always gotten decently high rent. So, because rent has been volatile and has gone up and down, I've just kind of been.
You're almost like, I hope you stay.
I hope you stay. I do everything for me. I am such a good landlord.
Do you want me to pay the internet?
Actually, yeah, I was getting $3,500 for one upper floor in Hamilton. Now I get $33. This is a furnished, basically an Airbnb style, so that's why it's higher than what the average rent would be. But I actually negotiated with him because I just wanted him to stay. I've never raised the rent ever.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah, because now it matches. I'd way rather have a good tenant and take a couple $100 less per month. But when I go there, I think I've said this before. I went to visit my tenants one time, and there was paint by numbers out on the table. Everything was sparkly clean, and I'm like, I don't care what you're paying. You just stay and take care of my house.
Yeah, I had my place was $2,600, and then I could have probably got like $2,450, but I knew a girl, knew she was really clean, so I took $2,300. And I gave her a month free because it was going to be there vacant anyhow. I was just pay me the utilities, and she was like so excited. But
that's good.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. You got to
good for you.
You got to get good tenants, and you got to get good people in your condo.
I wonder. I haven't put any lease offers in lately, I've been seeing applications come in, and my landlords are way more lenient because they've had months of vacancy in terms of the quality of the applications. It's definitely lower than it used to be. And landlords, remember when the rental market was going crazy and, if you couldn't show proper pay stubs and have a credit score over 700, you weren't finding a rental. Now landlords are becoming more lenient because they're bleeding. So it's like,
Yeah.
let me take a risk on you.
I'm pushing people towards the purpose-built rentals because
You're in a purpose-built rental.
yeah, and like it's just way easier. Like
And
I
it's nice,
literally
you like it, eh?
yeah, we had an issue with our plumbing and they literally the next day a plumber was there and they fixed it. We're so sorry. We renewed, they gave us a month free and they're offering like months free too for people. So like when people ask me about, can I go see this building? I'm like, well, contact the property manager here because they have bigger promotions because they're a big company.
Yeah.
So you can save some more money. Obviously, I don't want to be mean to mom and dad, mom and pop shop style of landlords, but when you have this opportunity to steer clients in another way, or even just someone you kind of know, why not? Right. So anyway, condo market's hurting.
Condo market is suffering. Okay, let's move on to Canadian government purge. Public sector loses 21K jobs in a month. So Canada's job market just lost one of its biggest crutches, public sector hiring. After years of driving job growth, expanding at twice the pace of the private sector, the public workforce abruptly contracted in May. New data from Statistics Canada Labour Force Survey shows a sharp pullback, raising questions about recent job gains. While the hiring boom is often credited to federal policymakers, the lion's share of public sector employees work for municipal governments.
Interesting. We just saw the public sector balloon and now even they're laying people off, which is not something that you normally see. Usually we see in Canada that the public sector just continues to grow and now we're seeing layoffs there. So I wonder what we're going to see going forward. Again, we need to get private sector going. It's massive. And Carney was a private sector guy. So I wonder what he can do to kind of spark that part of the economy. Like, he was on the Brookfield, he was on the board of Stripe. Hopefully he can, do what he kind of campaigned on was to make the economy run more efficient.
Part of this decline was due to temporary elections Canada work.
Yeah, I guess that would make a lot of sense.
So there's 4.53 million workers in this May is when the data came out in Canada's public sector. So it only fell 0.5%, but given the large number, that's 21,300 jobs and is the largest drop since 2011.
Wow, 2011. Jeez, it's a long time.
What was happening in 2011? Do you remember what you were doing in 2011?
No, I just graduating high school.
Yeah, we were graduating high school.
Yeah, I was going to university.
Times were different back then.
Yeah, times were different. Yeah, Canada looks way different.
Canada looks
way different today than it did. But yeah, you hope that the job numbers kind of get better. But we'll see. We will see. Like, there's just so much going on right now. It's hard. It's week to week, to be honest.
Yeah. But in public sector jobs, like there are a lot that we need more of. Like if you think about healthcare, like our healthcare system is not performing well. Like the amount of wait time if you're in the emerge,
it's crazy,
is insane. Yeah. So for it to fall, I mean, I understand the private sector needing to pick up a bit, but like if we look at the majority of the public sector workers and what they're doing, like for example, city staff, we need more of that, like to get permits and push through that sort of things. Fire departments, like there's some police departments of the public
doctors, nurses,
so, yeah, there's definitely public sector jobs that we need more of, but less of some of these other departments. Like remember when the CRA.
Yeah, I think you need to incentivize people to, like, even to be a cop, it's like a long, expensive process. Like if you had some, hardworking high school kids and the program was subsidized as an example, or even to be a nurse, right? Like it's expensive to go to school. Like it's not cheap. So if you incentivize younger people to kind of focus on that, like to be a doctor as an example, you have to do 8 years of school, longer than your residency, and you're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Like you should, I don't know, maybe I'm just talking out of my head here, but if you subsidize that and you put some money towards it where, hey, we'll give you X amount back if you become a doctor, then your debt load is way less. You're making good money. You can start your family earlier. Then you can kind of see the risk reward of it.
Right. Well,
and immigration too. Just sorry
Yeah.
to tap in, but like our numbers should drop drastically,
Yes.
and the people that come in should be highly skilled people.
Highly skilled. Yeah. Remember Trudeau came out with the skilled trade workers immigration program, something.
His programs are like his housing accelerator. Like what happened to them all? It's just
Where do they go?
yeah, they're just waste of money.
Oh man. Okay, let's just continue this one. Canada's recently elected prime minister has pledged to taper spending, implying a reduction in public sector employees, but trimming the federal workforce may deliver the shift many anticipate, whether they support or oppose the scale of public employment. That's because the largest segment of the sector is lower levels of government, municipal in particular. Unless these segments are addressed, federal cuts may prove more symbolic than structural.
Yeah, I think Carney's not an idiot. Like he knows that there's way too much bloat in the government. So it makes sense that he wants to do some cuts, right?
Did Carney talk about, remember how Pierre came out and said that a lot of the government buildings, they were going to turn into purpose-built rentals?
Yeah, he hasn't. I don't think he's touched that just yet. I think one of the big things that we're still waiting on a budget.
Right.
Which is a little bit, I don't know, it's a little sketchy. Like, are the numbers that bad that they're just trying to prolong it as long as they can until the numbers get better? And again, like, I know Carney was an economic advisor for Trudeau, but like, no matter who got in power, if it was Pierre or Carney, it was Singh. I know Singh never had his chance, but they were inheriting like a terrible economy that just had, Chrystia Freeland as the finance minister who was butting heads with Trudeau, and then all this spending happened.
Where is she now? Isn't she like
She's the minister of, I forget. It'll come to me.
It's like foreign affairs or something. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's just like, it's strange to me how you can just like.
Yeah, I don't like that. How ministers can hop around and be a minister of something else when it's.
Yeah, they have no like.
What is she?
Previous experience or anything like that. It's like Canadian identity.
The Minister of Transport and Internal Trade.
Yeah.
So she was the Minister of Finance. And when they shook up the cabinet, I guess, and moved people around, and they were putting what minister everybody was in terms of what minister they were in charge of, they hopped around. It's like musical chairs almost. It's like, how do you have the experience in such a vast industry?
Yeah.
You can't.
They make like $300,000 a year.
Yeah,
and they get the summers off.
It's
crazy.
Plopping us out of real estate, which we know so well, in the economy, and saying, okay, you're gonna
do arts and culture.
Yeah,
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Because it's like a personality type too. Like I am not good at budgeting and finance, but I hire that out, right? So, but I'm not good at it.
I know,
and I know where my strengths lie, but.
I think that I would have had a lot more respect for Carney if he got rid of Anita Anand, Sean Fraser, Chrystia Freeland, Melanie Jolie, Stephen Guilbeault,
rid of them?
Yeah, just said because they were part of Trudeau's era and they failed. Like they just didn't do a good job. Chrystia Freeland was a terrible finance minister.
A lot of people don't like
Stephen Guilbeault was huge in killing Alberta and the oil industry and capping emissions. And then Sean Fraser did terrible at the housing, did terrible with immigration.
And now he's in immigration still?
No, he's not in immigration. He's in some sort of
he's a
Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But like these positions, like they just all get promoted, but they've done such a bad job. And maybe you could say, oh, it was Trudeau who did it, but like who gets promoted?
Oh, I know.
When they do such a bad job.
It's like the team, right? There's the head, which was Justin Trudeau, but the team behind him, you have to look at that because Trudeau caught a lot of the blame, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at the team that was in place in all these different positions that.
It's the same people who said that the carbon tax was good for us. And then they said, thank God for Carney getting rid of the carbon tax. It's just like the hypocrisy's there. What side were you on? So, but anyways.
Okay, let's move on. Okay. Canada home prices to lag inflation. Trade war further hurts sentiment. Canadian home prices are set to lag overall inflation this year. A renter's poll of property market experts showed, with transaction volumes already down sharply as a U.S.-led trade war escalates and risks serious damage to the economy. U.S. President Donald Trump's flip-flopping tariff policies, from already imposed steel and aluminum tariffs to new auto tariffs, pose a threat to an already weakening Canadian economy heavily dependent on exports to the U.S.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense, right? Until this trade war gets a little bit more concrete and we stop saying trade war and we say trade deal, I think that people can feel a little bit more secure at their jobs. I feel a bit more secure in the economy, but until then, I don't see real estate going anywhere. in terms of like prices going up.
Here's a great quote that basically states consumer confidence.
Confidence.
People are worried. And when people are worried, they're not going to go out and buy a new house and take on a half or $1 million mortgage. That's a big commitment if you're not sure you're going to have a job in the next few months' time.
100%. And like, are you going to take out that type of mortgage at 4%?
Right.
Like at 1%, it was a no-brainer.
I think that there's going to be a massive divide between renters and homeowners eventually. Even though sales continue to come down, I think a lot of people are just so fearful of what has happened for a long time that people are the dream of owning Canadian real estate. The sentiment is lost upon a lot of people.
People are waiting for their parents to die. People
Oh
say
my
all, you know, it's like they say it all the time. Then I'm going to inherit this. I'm going to inherit the house. I can sell the house. But there's a lot of houses with empty bedrooms. There's a lot of boomers living in these houses with 3 empty bedrooms that are 3,000 square feet. Eventually that has to turn over. And then does the real estate market get more efficient where, you know, that 3,000 square foot house has 1 person or 2 people in it.
Right.
Now it has 4.
You know what's crazy? I have a listing in Toronto, $699,000, fully detached house that is zoned commercial, multi-residential. You can develop on it because the lot is big, has parking.
No sales.
$699,000 for a detached house in Toronto, like right in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's not moving.
It's not moving.
It needs work, 100%. There was an elderly lady that left it behind, and she kept it. It's like it actually got featured on Blog TO's.
Oh, I think I saw you post that. Yeah,
so it's like they said, just because it's very
no
antique
bites
looking, no bite. And I'm like, OMG, that's
really
crazy.
Not even like a contractor or something.
No, and somebody should totally scoop that up. But it just really shows me that it's not even the price. Because if I put it at $599, does it sell the land? People are just not looking.
That's interesting. Just takes time. That's it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else there?
Yeah, we have one more.
One more.
Okay.
Oh, I think this is some good news.
Okay, the City of Toronto has voted. Oh, I just read this one. City of Toronto has voted in favor of upzoning 6 units in all residential neighborhoods. Gives new meaning to the 6.
The 6.
So essentially, the Planning and Housing Committee on June 12th has voted in favor of allowing 6 units in any residence. Yeah. So right now it's 4, right?
I think so, yeah. So you can kind of get that CMHC loan too if that comes to fruition.
Once you're above 5 units, you can get a commercial mortgage, and CMHC has typically
better financing deals. Yeah.
So I think this will help incentivize people to build more, because if you're getting 6 units.
But with the rental market going down, like, are people that desired to hop in and take on a 6-plex project? I don't know. I'm kind of weary of that, unless it's like a really desirable area. But like, why not live in a condo?
Right.
Like, there'd have to be for me to live in like a 6-plex, there would have to be some sort of incentive.
Oh, 100%.
Like some sort of good, because
Yeah.
like I like my condo because there's security downstairs.
Totally.
Like, it's built with concrete. I don't know if you have to build 6-plexes with concrete, but concrete's huge because you don't hear everything. You don't hear nothing. Yeah. Versus the 6-plex, you could probably build with wood.
Yeah.
Because wood's cheaper than concrete, right?
100%.
Yeah. So
that's interesting. We'll see more of this.
Oh, my underground parking too. Like, I love it. It stays nice and stays nice and warm. So there's some incentives that I'm just I wonder if there's going to be a lot of people jumping at that.
There's going to be a lot of, what do you call them? Not in my backyard.
NIMBYs.
Yeah.
Let's see if this even gets through. There's going to be people with pitchforks in a second.
Like, I can understand. Like, if there was going to be 6-plexes all along my parents' street, like, they wouldn't like that either.
Yeah.
But
even if I owned like a detached home somewhere and I was just, everyone is detached and it was like a family street, and then all of a sudden there's 6-plexes, you would be like, damn, this is not what I want to see.
Wow. It's wild out there. It is very, very
It's fun.
slow out
It's
there.
fun. Yeah. It's never a dull day. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh. It's a lot of doom and gloom. And I feel like a lot of our podcast has been on the doom and gloom. I mean, I don't hate this, that they're allowing 6 units. I mean,
yeah, I think the thing that, it does seem like doom and gloom, but we're just telling you how it is. I think that that's the best way to go. It's not great right now. And we I'm not saying we predicted it, but what we talked about for so long was just the same old from the Trudeau government, and even, Doug Ford and his government, and all these different governments and municipalities that, like, just, there's no urgency, there's no efficiency. And here we are kind of, the bills come due and things are slow. Yeah. And we went from multiple offers to no offers really quickly. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. I mean, every week we're here and we'll keep you guys posted on what we're finding, what we're seeing. And thanks to Brooke for toughing it out.
You
Sick
can
in
hear a
June.
little bit of sick in June. Stop it.
Make that a song.
So funny.
Well, we appreciate you guys.
Big win for the Oilers.
Oh,
last
yeah,
night.
that was
a wild.
I couldn't
game.
believe they won. Yeah, they're
That was
down 3-0, and I
insane.
was
They were
like,
down
oh
3-0.
no, because I
And
really
then
want them to win.
Panthers scored with 19 seconds left to tie it up.
Yeah, I was sleeping by then, but I woke up and I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, thank God they won. Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, that was a sick one.
Yeah.
Anyways, go Canada.
Danielle Smith tweeted, she was like, these Oilers are taking years off my life. She's like so happy that they won.
So
But yeah,
funny.
congrats to the Oilers. Hopefully they can bring it back to Canada. Florida won it last year. I don't want to see them win it again.
I
So,
know.
but anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Let us know in the comments what you think. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a review if you can. And yeah, if you want to work with Brooke or I, we service Toronto, GTA, Hamilton area. So click that first link down below, and we'd love to give you a free call and see what we think of your situation. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.